Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Binance and FTX situation and why this is so detrimental for the crypto market and why it showed such terrible gains inside the past few days. So, we're going to get straight to this. Definitely hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Leave a comment in the comment section. And also, definitely check out my other channel, Marsellis Travels. Links in the description if you want to see me traveling throughout Brazil. You can definitely go ahead and click that and definitely pre-save my album link in the description. But let's get straight to this though. Let's talk about this because as we can see here, we had a lot of drops inside the crypto market, huge drops all over crypto. So it wasn't just, FTX that took a huge crash during this whole fiasco, if you want to call it that. But let's talk about this because this is pretty bad. So first of all, look at FTX. This is something that's constant inside of crypto. Just left and right, these crypto projects just keep getting slapped out of the sky, literally. Just slapped out of the sky and completely destroyed. The other one was Terra Luna Classic here. So Terra Luna Classic, it just got completely destroyed, and it was kind of similar. It just no funds, just straight down. Like, I don't know. It's crazy what's going on. And actually, if you look at FTX, it's kind of the same situation now. FTX was once trading all the way up here at $84, now trading at $4.69. Not as bad as Terra Luna Classic. I will say that because if you look over here, we still have $588 million inside of FTX. So actually, if I hit the refresh, it's probably going to be a little bit less. But yeah, we still have, oh, no, now we have 624 million. So it had a little bit of an increase inside the last few hours. But as you can see, it's fluctuating really bad right now. It's going crazy. And then, the other one we had, Voyager, also had a problem that was similar. And as you can see, Voyager also had a huge dip during all this as well, 20%. Everything's been going down huge. Voyager down 20% in the last 24 hours. Voyager had a pretty bad reputation that was going on not too long ago. But yeah, Voyager also had I would like to call it the exchange disease, or not even exchange disease, but like DeFi disease, I guess, if you want to call it that. Even though it's not DeFi, it's far from DeFi. But look, Terra Luna Classic did the exact same thing. FTX is now doing it. And Binance is just too big of a force to be reckoned with. Binance, I don't believe, will have something like this happening. It's just too strong. It's literally the largest exchange out there. It's too strong. I don't believe Binance will get taken down like that. It's just not going to happen with Binance. Now, let's kind of go over FTX and what's happening. Then we're going to look at Bitcoin after this. So as you can see here with FTX, we're down 69% in the last 24 hours, 81% in the last 7 days, and so on. So this is huge. This is bad. A lot of people are talking about it, but let's get over it. So first of all, we're going to look at this article. So it's pretty much saying what just happened in crypto. So they had a whole Q&A in plain English, so it's not too difficult for people to understand. So first of all, they start by saying this. They start by, talking about Bankman Sam Fried, or whatever his name, Sam Bankman Fried, whatever you want to call him, SBF, Sam Bankman Fried. We're just going to use his, or Fried, we're just going to use his initials, SBF, and for CZ Binance, we're just going to say CZ because I can't even pronounce his name. But let's go over this. So what exactly happened? So they're saying Binance, as you all know, owned by CZ Binance. He is the billionaire who owns it. And he is from Canada. He's Chinese Canadian, right? We got that out the way. And then Sam Bankman-Fried is from America. And I forgot where he's based out of right now. But he's from America. And he's got this crazy hair. That's how they describe him. They describe him the crazy hair CEO. All right. So let's go over this. So first of all, they said the two of these two guys used to be friends. So they said the two of them used to be pals. You see, and this included CZ investing in SBF's new crypto exchange, which was FTX. And then he said over here, in time, CZ decided he didn't want to own FTX anymore. So he didn't want it anymore. And then when he sold his stake in FTX, he took payment in a token called FTT. So follow along here. First, he has a stake in it, but he no longer wants to be involved in it. So then he takes his stake inside of FTT. So Binance no longer owns, FTX, but now he has FTT. He took his money out of there. He took the shares from the company and he invested it into FTT, which is here. FTT. That's the FTX coin. It's the native coin of FTX. So those tokens are used by customers on the FTX exchange to obtain trading discounts, but unlike Bitcoin, are not especially liquid. So it's kind of just like BNB. It's just like Qcoins, Coin, and all these other exchange coins. So they said in hindsight, this was foolish, a foolish arrangement by SBF because it resulted in CZ owning a huge amount of FTT tokens. So if he ever wanted to, he could sell, and this would make the whole thing crash, which is what we're talking about now, thus giving him power over FTX. Now, it's as if Pepsi gave Coca-Cola a big chunk of their shares that Coke could not sell off anytime it wanted, and that's what happened. So CZ got mad at SBF and flooded the market with loads of FTT tokens. So now he has the largest stake inside of FTX with FTT tokens, and now he has sold them off on the market and just completely crashed it because he got mad at him. That's what they're saying, right? And if you want to know more about why he got mad, you can read this Fortune article here. Crypto billionaire squares off. They're having a billionaire square off. So CZ to liquidate Binance's hundreds of millions of dollars in native token of Bankman-Fried's exchange. So I'm not going to pay for this subscription, but if you want to read it, definitely go over here and read that. But they're squaring off pretty much. They got beef. That's what we got to talk about. So they said this was devastating because SBF also owns a trading fund that has a whole lot of FTT tokens on its balance sheet. So not only has CZ Binance now sold his FTT tokens, now Sam Bankman-Fried's FBF's his trading fund is now being affected by this. So now it's not only his business being affected, but now the people invested into his business, into his trading fund, are now being affected. And when this happens, it's a butterfly effect. When one thing happens, it's like dominoes. Everything just starts to fall over. That's exactly what happened with Luna Classic. It almost happened with Voyager, but they kind of avoided it and they survived. But Luna Classic did not. Let's keep going over this. Now, Luna Classic is still, it's still doing its thing, but it's not what it used to be. But yeah, let's keep going over this. So over here it says, when the price of FTT tokens began to crater, SBF tried to defend its value by selling other assets in order to buy up FTT tokens, flooding the market, but it didn't work. So this is an important part. So as it's crashing, now he's like, oh man, I don't want it to continue to crash. So let me sell off other assets that I have and put it into FTT tokens. So now it's affecting his money now. Not only is it affecting his business, the people invested inside of his trading fund, but now it's investing his personal bank account. So follow along here. And then it says, and as the value of FTT tanked, SBF discovered his liabilities began to exceed his assets. So it continues to tank, and he's like, oh man, he just put more of his assets into it to try to make it go back up, but it continues to tank. And then they say by Tuesday, his companies were facing insolvency, and he had to turn his rival to take them off his hands. He had to turn to his rival to take it off his hands. So pretty much with insolvency, he now no longer has money. It's kind of like what happened to Terra Luna Classic. Like there's no longer any money to back the people that are now invested inside of him. And this is raising eyebrows. It's raising questions. People start getting scared, and now they're starting to pull out. They're starting to withdraw. But how are you going to start the withdrawal when there's almost no more money to withdraw because you're losing all of it? And that's one of the problems here. So that's crazy. Why would CZ do such a thing? So they say it's likely CZ did this in part because he wanted to squash a rising competitor, which is business 101. If you have a competitor, how about you tank their business and destroy it and then buy their business from them and use it to continue to increase your own business? And that's kind of what's happening here. But they said, but part of it was personal. So in recent months, and this is where I say they had beef, in recent months, regulators have been getting aggressive toward the crypto industry, and both Binance and FTX have been scrambling to stay on their good side. And if you don't know, Binance is the largest exchange. FTX has been doing very aggressive marketing all over. If you go all over YouTube, you see all the largest YouTubers out here pushing the FTX exchange and their partners and affiliates with FTX. I never joined it personally because when I see so many people gathering around one thing, I kind of take a step back and I'm like, no, I'm not going to touch it. And this is why. Anyways, amid all this, CZ came to believe SBF was whispering poison in the ears of US regulators, possibly suggesting to them that CZ was tied to China. And so CZ opted for revenge. So if you do not know, it is very bad for any kind of company operating in like the Western world. Not really bad for them to do business with China, but it's kind of bad for U.S. regulators when they hear the largest crypto exchange that's operating inside of their country is also making deals with China. So you can see how there's a little bit of problems there because U.S. and China have always had some kind of animosity here because China wants to be the world superpower, and I believe they also want oil to be traded inside of the Chinese yuan or won or whatever you want to call it. But oil is tied to the petrodollar. It's tied to the U.S. dollar. So there's always been problems with the U.S. and China, and now Sam Bankman-Fried is now telling U.S. regulators, or he believes that's what CZ believes, is that he's telling U.S. regulators that he's now operating and working with China. So you can see how bad that is. The U.S. wants to stay a superpower. CZ Binance wants to also continue to operate in the U.S. So this is very bad for him. Now, they say we gave support before, but we won't pretend to make love after divorce. We are not against anyone, but we won't support people who lobby against our other industry players behind their backs. That's what CZ wrote in a fateful tweet on Sunday. 2 days later, he had destroyed his rival's company. So does Binance now own FTX? They say no, at least not yet. So if Sam Bankman-Fried wants to stay a billionaire and he wants to continue to have all his money and live the life he's living, then he's gonna have to sell his business to CZ Binance. And if I were Sam Bankman-Fried, I would sell it to CZ Binance and just wipe my hands clean of it, and then just back up and then stay out the business world for a while. But right now, this is bad for him. So no, at least not yet. He's not trying to buy it, at least not yet. He hasn't bought it yet, but he is trying to. They said all CZ has said is that Binance signed a letter of intent to acquire FTX, which means that he wants to acquire it, and he sent the letter to acquire it, but he hasn't acquired it yet, which means it could happen, but there's no guarantee. Now, I will say one thing about SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. He is very, very, very into crypto. Like, he's not someone that just wants to just completely leave the industry. Like, he's really tied to crypto, and he's really about it. He's about that crypto life. So I don't think he'll just completely sell it to CZ Binance. But if he doesn't, he's gonna lose a lot of money. A lot of people invested in it are gonna lose a lot of money, and he's gonna get a lot of lawsuits sued against him. So he needs to be careful with what he does next. Now they say in the meantime, CZ and SBF have indicated Binance will look after FTX's customers and make sure their funds aren't wiped out. So listen here, they said CZ and SBF have indicated Binance will look after FTX's customers. So CZ Binance isn't completely hanging them out to dry. He's like, look, we'll look after your customers and make sure their funds aren't wiped out. And that's pretty much it. But this kind of says CZ Binance has all the leverage here. So FTX is more than likely going to be, bought out by CZ Binance, or at least halfway bought out. Now, who's to blame? They said, well, you could say it's CZ's fault because he didn't have use to his power over FTX to destroy it. But people are also pointing fingers at SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, for not being transparent about the full overlap between FTX and his trading company, which owned piles of FTX. So he's not being transparent here. He's not talking about his trading company inside of, he has a trading fund. And he's not talking about how it has a huge power over FTX, how much heavily invested his trading company is inside of FTX. So anyone invested in his trading company is now invested into FTX by default. So that's kind of, it's kind of a raise the eyebrow type of situation. So it says over here, if he had been transparent, people would have likely raised the alarm about this vulnerability early on. And maybe FTX could have prevented this mess, because that makes everybody vulnerable in this situation. It makes everybody on the exchange vulnerable. And now he has a trading fund tied to that. So now everyone on the trading fund is now vulnerable to that as well. Everyone invested inside of that trading fund. And now this is even worse for the FTX exchange, because the trading fund has so much leverage over the exchange. Once people start backing out of the fund, now the exchange takes a double loss, not just one. Now it takes double the loss. So over here it says others have also made a more serious allegation that SBF may have used customer funds to plug holes in the balance sheets of one or both of his companies. And now it's getting worse. So now he's almost getting hit for money laundering. So this is going to get really bad for SBF if he doesn't just sell off the company. He just needs to sell it to Binance at this point. And that's going to help everybody in this situation. But anyways, it says that's what happened in the case of several other crypto companies that imploded this spring, and it's a very bad thing. But to be clear, these are just allegations, and there's no proof that SBF did this. And then they say, okay, but why is this such a big deal? Doesn't stuff like this happen all the time? They say, yes, crypto was a well-deserved reputation for shenanigans and executives who play fast and loose. But this episode stands out since FTX is the second biggest company in crypto. And because SBF was widely seen as the golden boy of the industry, who would help it get on the right side of regulations. So much for that. So what does this mean for the price of cryptocurrencies, which is currently what we're dealing right now? Because as you see, this kind of sent a whole ripple effect, a whole effect inside of the whole crypto market, from Bitcoin to Ethereum. As you can see, the second this happened, billions of dollars were literally liquidated out of the crypto market. If you look over here at DeFi Llama, it shows you a whole list of all the cryptos out there. And as you can, are all the DeFi apps. It was at $52 billion before this started, and now it's at $46 billion. That is a lot of money. That's $6 billion liquidated in a few days, all off of this. So it could continue to go down even further if this gets worse, and it will get worse, which it will continue to go down further. Like I said, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor at all, but I do believe this is going to get a lot worse than people think. And as you can see here, the market cap of crypto, it's continuing to go down. And it's no longer, it went down 9.5% in the last 24 hours. The whole entire market cap, 9.5% in the last 24 hours. That is terrible. That's very bad. And actually, if you look at the last few days, it's now dropped below the $1 trillion threshold. As you can see, million, billion, trillion. It was at 1.1 trillion on November 4th. And then on November 5th, it was at 1.1 trillion as well. But then it starts to go downhill. It loses that $1 trillion market cap to yesterday going into today. So now it's no longer at $1 trillion market cap. Money is flowing out of crypto because of this. Now let's read why. Now they say, well, in the short term, it's not good news. Prices tumbled on rumors that FTX was in trouble, but then rebounded briefly when Binance announced its rescue, only to crash later on Tuesday. So the same thing could happen again. They say these events have battered the price of FTT and a token called Solana associated with SBF. So Solana is now getting hit because it's associated with FTX. So you can see how bad this is. Solana down 41% in the last 7 days, 32% in the last 24 hours. It kind of did a recovery, but not good enough. It wasn't a good enough recovery. Solana was trading at $30 before all this. Now Solana is trading at $18 because of all this. And this is now affecting a lot of people in the crypto market. There's a lot of people invested into Solana. There's a lot of people that get into DeFi apps on this. And now with all this happening, now everyone invested in Solana is now getting, screwed over pretty much. Everyone invested in FTT, everyone invested inside of the trading fund of FTT. But one thing that's not getting completely screwed over is BNB, because Binance is the leader here. They're following the leader. Binance is buying them out. They're trying to buy them out. Binance has all the money. They're the largest exchange. Binance is almost like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It is like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's one of the cryptos that will just not get overthrown. It's a crypto that will keep its throne and stay up at the top. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Binance are literally the backbone of crypto. Now, I would say Bitcoin is the complete, spinal cord, right? Bitcoin is the spinal cord. And then Ethereum, I would say Ethereum is like the energy that goes through the spinal cord. And then BNB is the literal back. So you have the spinal cord, right? And then, then you have the energy going through the spinal cord, going up to the brain, sending signals to your whole body, allowing your body to move, the DeFi apps, right? And then you also have BNB. So this is definitely a really interesting situation. But let's keep going over this. Let's keep doing this. So the next thing that we do want to look at over here is so we're going to look at Bitcoin for now because we already talked about all this. But as you can see, Bitcoin is down a lot as well. And we just now bounced off that support down there at 17.4K. I'm still predicting a 10K Bitcoin. And this is only going to take Bitcoin even further down to that position, all the way down to 10K. A lot of people don't want to hear that. But hey, that's where the indicators got it at. We haven't been at this level since 2020 of October. And that is the exact moment when we became bullish and entered our bull run. And it's been 2 years since then. So now, inevitably, we've pulled back. And now that we've pulled back, we're at our support. We're about to meet that support again. It's been 2 years, and then let a whole year go by after we, get towards the support, go sideways and down for like a year. And then by the end of 2023 to the beginning of 2024, we should be rolling into our next bull market. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. That's just what I believe personally. But anyways, that's all I got for y'all today. I definitely had to come here and make this video. But yeah, definitely hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Leave a comment in the comment section. Definitely check out my other channel, Marsellis Travels, link in the description. And as always, I'll be back with another video.